So we actually only have one meeting left, which is going to be May 7th on a dead day at the same time. And it's also going to be another guest speaker, and we will send emails out for that as well. And then there's actually another meeting from HCOP. They're also hosting 2 PACs, and they're actually Fresno State alumni, which is going to be a day before our meeting, so May 6th. So we encourage you guys to go to both of those meetings. I think those are the last 2 meetings our club will be having this semester before the semester ends. So Sammy, if you can just move to the next slide real quick.
Wait, hold on. Are they admitted? I
Yeah.
still see. Really? It
Yeah.
shows that they're in the waiting room on my side.
Mine tells me they're all.
Never mind.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so a quick recap of our mission statement. The Pre-PA Club was established to support the next generation of Fresno State pre-PA students and provide vital information and resources to those seeking the physician assistant profession. So we just like to remind you guys of our mission so we all know why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing. But now I'm going to pass off the presentation to our guest speaker today. So Sammy, you can take over.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good morning to me, TBH. I just woke up from a nap not too long ago. I do night shifts, so this is usually my morning, and I'm getting ready to go to work usually. But today I'm here with you guys. Thank you, Brittany, for inviting me today. So a little about myself. I made a collage here about who I am, where I come from, and the people that are most important to me and kind of helped me get to where I am today. So I'm from Corcoran, California. For those who don't know, it's like a very small town right between, as you see here, between Fresno and Bakersfield. I'm about 35 minutes from Visalia, an hour-ish from Fresno, and 30 minutes from Hanford. These are my parents here in their cool costumes. They immigrated from Mexico. My mom started high school here in Corcoran, not knowing a single amount of English, and somehow she got straight A's in high school. So she's a huge inspiration to me. My dad is the oldest of 10. And actually helped his brothers and sisters along with his parents, my grandparents, also immigrate to Corcoran from Jalisco, Mexico. So he's also a huge, huge influence to me, especially because I'm also the oldest. And these are my brother and sister here in the bottom corner. I think they were at a music festival. And then up here, my grandma, I love her to death. She's like my bestie. We were actually at one of her chemo checkup appointments here, and I just thought she was so cute with her little matching glasses. My pups here as well. They're my babies, super cute, super annoying sometimes, but I love them. My boyfriend here, he is actually going to graduate this May from Fresno State and the social works program. And he's actually going to start working as a therapist next month. So I'm super proud of him. We've been together for 10 years. So we've kind of known each other since high school. And when I was an undergrad at UCLA, he was still down here in community college. So we did the whole long distance thing. It was fine. And then down here, I just have a picture of me and my family at paint night. If you look at my dad's drawing, you can see how disproportionate, I think it's Jack Skellington's arms are. I just think it's super funny. But we were at paint night. I think as I was putting the presentation together, I realized that I'm really into like the arts and kind of theater. I love watching musicals. That's something that I miss from this past year. And one of my favorite shows is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. If anyone knows about it, watches it, because not a lot of people do, give me a shout out. So yeah, that's me. I was born in Hanford actually, and my first language was Spanish. And I didn't start any English classes until the second grade. And I still remember struggling to read like a book during class. So that's kind of me. So I titled this my 8-year journey because it really has been 8 years since I discovered that the PA profession existed. So I kind of just laid out key moments in my journey that I feel are important to me and kind of define important steps in my pre-PA journey. So in 2012, I graduated my high school, Corcoran High School, as valedictorian. I actually gave my valedictorian speech in Spanish. So it just kind of goes to show, like, I know Spanish pretty well, so I was able to deliver that speech there. I began undergrad at UCLA as a chemistry major that same year. And actually, I received a full scholarship from my high school to attend UCLA. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been able to attend. I mean, my family did not have that kind of money for me to go to UCLA. So bless up, I was able to go there as a chemistry major. I have no idea why I chose chemistry as my major. I think I was largely influenced by my chemistry teacher in high school, Mr. Arroyo. He played a big part in my pre-PA journey, and he really challenged me and all my other classmates in high school. He was that one teacher that I hope all of us had or will have one day, that challenges us to do our best and to really learn material and just really push us. And he was funny and charismatic and just very wise. And anyways, so I think that's why I chose that major, but later on I ended up switching multiple times. So in 2013, I started my undergrad. I'm the first of my extended family. I have lots of cousins, y'all. If any of you are minority, I feel like we tend to have a bunch of cousins all over the place. So big extended family. I was the first one to attend a major university. So in a sense, I kind of had no idea what I was doing when I got there. My first year, I kind of felt lonely, but at the same time busy, and I was okay because I was just in my room studying. But eventually I did join a Latina sorority. We have a chapter at Fresno State, Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated. That's where I met some of my lifelong friends. So that's kind of something that one of the bigger things in undergrad that I got involved in. Sorry, my dogs are barking. That really helped me with volunteer hours and volunteering in different organizations and really learning how to be a professional young woman and how to carry myself in lots of ways. Oops, let me go back here. So anyways, so I was lost in undergrad, had no idea what I wanted to do. I always told myself, oh, I should be a doctor because that's what, I don't know, for some reason, we're always taught, you're just gonna be a doctor because that's the best thing you could be. My mom is yelling at my dogs. I guess one of them pooped inside the house. Sorry. Yes, I still live at home and I'm 27 years old and that's okay. So anyway, along the first year, I was like, okay, I need to go back and talk to Mr. Arroyo, my chemistry teacher, my mentor, because I don't think I want to be a doctor. At this time, I was like, in my head, I wanted to be married by like 24, 23, have like kids at 25, the basic Latina fantasy that a lot of us grow up to have. And to me, in my head, being a doctor was not gonna satisfy that fantasy or make that fantasy real, So anyway, so I go back and I talk to Mr. Royal, and I was like, in the chemistry lab with all the lab benches and stuff. I'm like, Mr. Royal, I don't think I want to be a doctor. And then I kind of told him why. And he said, well, you should look into being a PA. And I was like, and that's it. And then he stopped talking about it and he changed the subject. And I was like, okay. And then so literally that's where I found out about the PA profession. So I went back to UCLA, and in 2014, I finally went to a Jumpstart to Your Career info session at my career center. And this was the first time that because I always had in the back of my head, okay, I guess I'm gonna be a PA, or I guess I'm gonna, look into this PA thing. So this is the first thing that really, I actually wrote about this moment in my personal statement. It was kind of a revelation to me when I was hearing all the panelists, the PA students, the actual PAs talk about their career and their pre-PA path. I was like, I think this is what I meant to be. So that's why I have a little arrow right here. This was like the defining moment for me that I thought, okay, I'm for sure gonna do this. This is what I wanna do. And then so eventually I was like, okay, well, I gotta start earning, these healthcare experience hours somehow. Okay, there's this like really competitive internship that all the pre-meds apply to, and I guess it's really good, so I guess I have to apply to it. This is me by myself. None of my sorority sisters were pre-PA. Like, I didn't have any friends that were pre-PA. There was no pre-PA club on campus at this time. It was always pre-med. You already know. So I applied once, didn't get it. I applied twice, didn't get it again. I was very, very super sad at the second time, because I was like, what do you guys want from me? Like, I think I did great. And, I remember just being so sad at that moment that they did not want me in their internship. It's like, you were not going to pay me. This was just going to be a free volunteer thing. But whatever, I keep going, because that's what we do, guys. We don't let something get in the way. So I applied a third time and I finally got in. So this volunteer internship, I was volunteering at postpartum departments, emergency departments, ICU departments, your basic med-surg departments. I was stocking stuff. I was cleaning patient beds. I was giving patients blankets if they didn't have a fever. And really just talking to patients in the hallway. And I mean, that was really it. And taking visitors to appropriate rooms to wherever they needed to go. So it was this experience that I really started liking the whole medical thing, because up until then, I really had no medical experience, no healthcare experience at all. And there was this one time, it was at UCLA's Ronald Reagan Emergency Department. It was my first night there, and a trauma came in, and this poor man, like, got his arm stuck in a meat grinder. And, it was just crazy. But what made it stand out to me was that he only knew Spanish. And everybody in the room at that point had no idea what he was saying. And they kept yelling, just get us an interpreter, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I know Spanish. And so like that was a really, important moment for me, because it just showed me that you don't have to, be like, you don't have to know a lot of medical knowledge. You don't have to be a nurse, doctor, whatever, x-ray tech in a moment to be able to help somebody. So that was like really defining for me. And I really liked it. And I liked seeing, just everybody work together to help this patient. So I really loved that. I also had other moments where I was just talking to patients in the hallway and interpreting for them, and realizing that they didn't understand what their course of plan was during this day. So here I just really, really saw how important it is to really make sure that patients know what they're getting done or what their course of action is. So I did this from 2014 to 2016 until I graduated with my bachelor's. In 2015, another defining moment, Mr. Royal passed away from cancer. And I remember crying in my bedroom with my roommate, Arlette, and just thinking, I never got to go back to him and tell him, everything that I've been doing. That was my only mentor that I had. But what can you do? So in my head, I said, one day I'm going to get into PA school, and during my white coat ceremony, I'm going to be thinking of him. So that's another defining moment right there for me. So I finally graduate UCLA with a sociology Bachelor of Arts degree. Yes, I went from chemistry to sociology. It was a crazy ride and very stressful. I was chemistry, and then at one point I was psychology, and then I was like, no, but I need all the science prereqs. So then I went to psychobio, but then I didn't meet a certain deadline to claim the actual major, because I didn't have no idea that's something that you had to do, because I just didn't know. I didn't really have a mentor. I didn't really visit with a counselor as much. And so, yeah, but I do not regret my where I ended up, because I actually feel like I learned a lot of important stuff in my sociology degree about people and how we interact and stuff. My research at UCLA was kind of a psychosocial research. It was mainly in the psychology department, but it was kind of a social experiment too. And it involved just interviewing first-generation Latino students on campus, and how homeschool value conflicts kind of interfere with their learning and their attentional control. So that was what was my research on. So a lot of you guys, just a little snippet, the findings were significant in that students who lived closer to home and, had more like, hey, we're gonna have a birthday party, you should come down. They kind of felt more like they had to be there, even though they had a lot of work to do, versus people who lived farther from home, it was kind of harder to actually go home and help their families with whatever they needed. So they didn't experience as much of that conflict, what we called it, homeschool value conflict. So I thought it was very significant because I was part of the population and I totally related with that. So immediately after graduating, literally I had a graduation ceremony on Sunday, and then Monday I started a 3-week accelerated EMT course at UCLA. I knew that I needed healthcare experience, or direct patient care experience, excuse me. So I was like, what can I do that will get me that experience? Okay, what's the fastest thing I can do? Okay, I'm gonna just do this EMT thing. So I did it. I struggled through it, but I passed it with an A. I passed all my skills the first time. And then eventually after that, I moved back home to Corcoran. And really the next year and a half were probably one of my more hardest years that I've experienced in my life. So I had a lot of, just not going to go into it, but just kind of social issues at home. And I never ended up taking the national certifying exam for the EMT course. So eventually it expired. So I started working at Sears as a cashier because I needed a job, right? I could not just keep living at home. This is me thinking, cannot keep living at home off my parents. I need some type of job. And so that's what I could land. And so that's what I started. Eventually, so that whole kind of 2016 to 2017, 12 months, I was just cashiering. But at the same time, I was retaking prereq courses at community colleges near me. So West Hills and Lemoore, Fresno City and Fresno, obviously. And then a few little random schools in SoCal, online courses. So one of those courses that I took was a medical terminology course. And I thought, I'm going to take this course because it's going to make my application or my resume look better because I want to get a job as a scribe because I want to be a scribe. It was one of my goals that I wanted to accomplish. So I was like, okay, let me take this med terminology course. So it was actually at this course, we were all doing the student introductions that we all hate to do at the beginning of a course. And the teacher was like, introduce yourself and tell us why you're taking this course. And I said, well, I'm taking this course because I want to improve my resume and prepare myself to hopefully land a job as a scribe. And that break, okay, we have like breaks during class. One of the students came up to me. She said, hey, I'm a scribe. Let me connect you to my manager. And that is how I started working at Cahuilla Delta Emergency Room as a scribe, just through that simple networking. So eventually I started working as a scribe in 2017. And then at the same time, they offer, as soon as I started, they said, hey, so if you want, you can take this test and be certified as a Spanish medical interpreter, and you get paid a little more just for being certified. And obviously, if the providers need you, use your Spanish. I was like, okay. So I did it and I got certified. And so at the same time, I was a scribe and I was a medical interpreter. But then, my friends, life happens. And my grandma got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in April of 2017. And 2 months later, my best friend, my roommate, Arlette, that I was talking about, also got diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And I was like, universe, what are you doing? Like, why, So eventually my grandma started going through chemo. She stayed with us at our house and we kind of had to be her main caregivers. So it was a tough time as well. But, I still kept taking my prereq courses, getting ready to apply one day, right? So at this point, I'm maybe 2 years after graduating from UCLA. So eventually, in 2018, the emergency department wanted to launch this pilot program called the Patient Care Advocate Program. And I was like, sign me up. I don't know what it was going to be, but they said that they needed Spanish speakers. And I was like, okay, sign me up because I need all the experience I could get. And anytime there's an opportunity, I jumped on it. So that's what I did. And so I was actually one of 2 bilingual speakers in this program. So basically what we did is we have a tracker board of patients that come through the ER, and it identifies frequent flyers. So our job was to kind of initially identify those frequent flyers. And if they were in the department, go talk to them about why they're frequent flyers, basically. And maybe why is it that they keep coming to the ER so much? Like, are they not getting appropriate follow-up care? Do they not know how? Do they not have primary care? Do they need specialty follow-up and they haven't been able to get it? So that was kind of our job. So it's kind of like a public health, social health role that I learned a lot from. And I was able to learn and collaborate a lot with our licensed clinical social workers in the department. They're called our patient family services. And I was able to connect with a lot of social and therapist services in the Kings County, Tulare County area. And I learned a lot from that as well. Oh my goodness. And, I definitely don't regret doing that. So then in 2019, I finally retook my EMT course because I still needed direct patient care experience. As you guys know, it's not the same as healthcare experience. And I really wanted to strengthen my application. So I retook it, and I remember feeling so confident in what I was learning because of the experience that I was having as a scribe and just everything that I was learning there. Everything made more sense. So I'm really glad in a way that this happened to me because I can't imagine being certified as an EMT earlier and then starting working from there versus having all this knowledge that I learned and then started working. That's just me. So I did that and I was like, okay, took the certifying exam, passed it. And then about 6 months later, I landed my ER tech position in the ER. And I was able to land it because, usually, well, I don't know if you know, for ER techs, you usually want like 1 to 2 years experience out in the field or experience as a CNA. This is for Korea Delta specifically. And well, I didn't have that. I was just a scribe. And I don't mean just a scribe to be like demeaning. I'm just like, I really wish just a scribe. So how did I land that job? Through networking and just being nice, I guess, and just talking to all the staff in the ER whenever it was, whenever I had a shift. One of the ER techs, she actually wrote me a recommendation to the ER tech manager to start working there. And so literally through networking and through people's kindness, I got the job. So I started ER teching on January 2020. 2020, yes. So 4 months before the pandemic hit. And also in 2019, a very important thing, me mentored the MSR series. Super helpful, super helpful. I think I remember starting the MSR series because I was like, okay, I think I'm finally gonna be ready to apply. I think I pretty much know how to apply, but I need like a mentor, like someone who, because I still didn't have that someone yet. I need someone to just like motivate me, to kind of like keep me on track of things, make sure I'm doing my stuff in my head. So I applied to it and got in. I remember our first meeting, it was held at Fresno State campus. I forget the building. And I was the only pre-PA student there and everybody else was med. So, but it doesn't matter. It's all about networking. And I'm always preach that networking will get you to where you need to get. So I started that, and then I met Rivera Jr. I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. Amazing guy. And he was really helpful to me in applying last year to CASPA. I mean, mock interviews, just pumping me up, giving me good advice, helping me with the personal statement, connecting me with you guys, Brittany. I think we did a mock interview. We did a mock interview together.
Yeah, we did
last year. Yeah. And then I met Ish. I did not meet Beach. Sorry, I thought that was you. Oh, was it this Victor then? Oh, see, I met you there. I don't know if you remember me. So yeah, so very helpful. Love me mentor. Amazing people. And then so 2020, I actually stopped. I did 6 weeks of training as an ER tech. So eventually I was on my own. I started being on my own mid-February, and then boom, the pandemic hit. So it was really interesting, to say the least, working in the ER during the pandemic. At first, it was really slow because nobody wanted to go to the ER, right? They're like, oh, I'm gonna get coronavirus. But then eventually I started picking up towards, I wanna say like July, it really started picking up. And December was horrible. I actually didn't realize that I was going through burnout in December until one of my colleagues pulled me aside and asked me, Sam, are you okay? And I was like, no, I am not okay. At this point, I had already applied to CASPA, and I kept getting rejection after rejection after rejection. And, I had in my head already, and Junior had helped me with this, come up with a plan for when I would get rejections, right? Because it was going to be inevitable. Like, I'm not perfect. Like, I'm not the perfect applicant. But after so many rejections in the same month, And we had a couple of our colleagues pass away in December and January. It was just tough. And I was continuously being put in our trauma critical zone because I guess I was good, right? So I believe that I'm a good worker. So it was very exhausting. And I just kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like I don't get paid enough for this. I'm so tired physically, mentally, like this is just crazy. And yeah, so that was December and January. So I was kind of down in the dumps at those times. But you know, I was already thinking, okay, how am I going to improve my next CASPA application? Because at this point it's January. I still haven't had any invites for an interview. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to start preceptoring. Well, actually, I started in December. That's why it was also very stressful for me because I was training new ER techs. And it was very challenging to train somebody while the pandemic is like full force and you're trying to take care of 18 patients at a time while also teaching somebody. So it was very stressful, but that was one thing that I was like, well, I got this under my belt. You know, it's another experience, a leadership experience that I can add to my CASPA this upcoming cycle. And then eventually, guys, March came around, March, or was it February? It was like mid-February. I got the invite to interview at Western University. And I was like, the heavens just opened up. This is crazy. You know, I was so happy and I couldn't believe it because I didn't think, to me, Western University, like I had looked at their website, their GPA, their average GPA was like 3.6. My overall GPA was like 3.34. In my head, I was like, you know, there's no way they're gonna grab me in an interview, but I'm gonna apply anyways because I meet all the requirements and, you know, I like the program in general. So I was very shook. So eventually my interview came on March 4th. And, you know, I do a lot of Googling. So I'm like Googling, trying to find out what this interview is going to be like. And so I found out it was going to be a really short Zoom interview, multiple mini interview format, which is kind of what we had practiced with Junior. I don't know if you remember, Brittany. So yeah, I was like, okay, I got this. I read Savannah Perry's interview book. Do I have it here? This one, super, super helpful, highly recommend. And yeah, so I just did mock interviews with my significant other. He really helped me a lot. And when interview day came, I just told myself, I gotta just be myself and show them that I can be a great fellow student in their program. And so yeah, so I got the acceptance email 1 week later. So that was like, usually people wait months to hear back if they get accepted. For me, it was actually 1 week later. And that's because, guys, I was part of the last interview slot. So like the stakes were high for me. I felt very nervous. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is all or nothing. So I did it somehow, still shook, can't believe I'm here. But in summary, I know a lot of, you know, a lot of people, pre-PA people, a lot of resources out there are like, you know, you got, you know, highly recommend your gap year. You know, you can do a lot in your gap year. And I just hope that my story makes you guys feel that it doesn't matter how long it takes, you'll get there. And don't let society's perception of, you know, when you should be starting a master program and when you should start having your own house and when you should start having your own kids and blah, 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 blah. Don't let that weigh you down in whatever journey it is that you ever have in life. You just got to do you, never quit, seek resources, and just always try to better yourself. And yeah, that's my journey. So it took me 8 years to when I first found out about the PA profession to getting accepted. So that is my story. That was very long, I'm sorry. If you have any more questions at the end, you can ask me. And then just because I didn't mention a lot of this, but a lot of my extracurriculars were involved in like the underserved community, kind of helping students from like kindergarten to high school apply to college with reading, Relay for Life, counseling for students from underserved communities wanting to apply to or interested in health careers programs. At Cahuilla Delta, I'm very grateful for my experience there because they're actually very supportive of their scribes. And the residents and the PAs there often held ultrasound workshops, suturing workshops like on pig's feet, patient care experience workshops. So I attended like a lot of those and I used those on my CASPA as well. And then for shadowing, obviously I had tons and tons and tons and tons of shadowing experience in the ER. But aside from that, I shadowed a family med PA in Pixley. It's like, you guys, it's the smallest little rural town ever. It's like maybe like 30 minutes south on the 43 from me. And then I also shadowed an orthopedic sports medicine and surgery PA in Visalia. Oh, and that reminds me, I also scribed for about a year at an orthopedic spine surgeon's office in Hanford. So, you know, just kind of among all that, I was also doing all of this. Okay, what time is it? 5:14. So your board kind of asked me if I would kind of do a CASPA walkthrough. Do you guys have any questions? Oh my gosh, I haven't stopped talking. Does anyone have questions?
Sammy, if you want to continue, you can. I think we're having our Q&A at the end. So you can just go ahead and finish your presentation if you want.
Okay,
And then we
because
can do
from here on
Q&A.
out, it's like all CASPA stuff.
But they can ask questions about anything at the end. Like if they still have a question about your journey, they can go ahead and shoot a message and we'll let you know.
Okay, so are any of you applying to, or CASPA opened yesterday, guys. Has anyone made an account? Okay. So, Beach, do you know, have you applied to CASPA before?
I haven't, but I do have an account.
Awesome. So, I mean, yeah, so as I reiterated lots of times throughout my spiel, I learned a lot of what I know right now about myself through Googling, through going to my career center, finding books, through Googling. It's funny because whenever I talk to somebody new and they're like, oh, you know, what would you recommend for me? One of the first things I say is Google. Just like, if you have a question, Google it. If you want to know a phone number, just Google it. Like Google, the internet has a lot of information, and me being the oldest in my family, that was kind of my mentor. Like that's how I found out a lot of information. Also Instagram, a lot of well, at the time when I first found out about the PA profession, there wasn't a lot, but there was a few helpful individuals, and eventually like it just kept growing and growing. So Instagram has a lot of good resources. The CASPA Applicant Help Center. So I'm gonna click to it right now. Can you guys see it? Yeah,
Yes.
so I promise all the information that you need, you can pretty much find on the CASPA Applicant Help Center. So like if you log into your CASPA account, there's gonna be like a little, I think it's like a little question mark on top, and it's the CASPA Applicant Help Center. And here you can literally find, I mean, this is like, if I click here, this is a quick start guide, and it kind of gives you advice on what to do, research programs, make sure you look at the dates, the deadline requirements, because a lot of programs requirements or deadlines are different. So some want you to have your application verified by a certain date. Some others just want you to have it submitted by that date. So it differs. So make sure you look at that. You know, on how to send transcripts, everything's there, how to enter your coursework, literally just everything. You know, there's an FAQ section. And then down here, this live chat option, it's super, super helpful. So if you have any questions, and this is what I wish I would have done differently, because I low-key procrastinated because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to call CASPA and like ask them all these questions. Oh my God, whatever. And I kept procrastinating. And eventually I was like, oh, there's this live chat option. Let me figure out what this does. It literally like connects you to somebody who will answer any question that you have about CASPA. It amazed me how fast they answered me, literally like 5 seconds. So what they'll do, they'll just ask you for your CASPA ID, which is found at the top right-hand corner. And that's it. And then you just ask whatever question and they will help you out right away. So I highly recommend using the live chat. Like, to me, don't bother calling, don't bother emailing. This is so fast with my experience. Just want to let you guys know. I think I saw someone raise their hand.
Yeah, it was me. I had a question. Is this the CASPA application help center? Is this after you create a CASPA account and you have
No.
access to this? Oh, okay.
You actually can just Google this. So here, let me go to
Okay.
Google. And it's available to you whenever. There it is.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you don't have to have an account. So what I did at first, like a year or two ago, I wasted a bunch of paper and I like printed out this whole thing. I literally went link by link because I'm a freak like that and I like to have everything organized in a cute binder. And I printed everything out just so I can know. But obviously you don't have to do that. You can save paper, but that's what I did. But yeah, super helpful. So let me go back to the presentation. So this lovely PowerPoint was put together by a club. What school is it? I don't know. It's some university. I found it via Google and I literally referenced it so much. So this is what I'm actually going to be kind of going over, and you guys can, you guys can have access to it too. I don't think I sent you guys this, but I can if you want the link. But yeah, it's just there in Google for anyone to see and use. It's like 60 slides long or something. So I don't know if you're all familiar with the fee assistance program. I personally didn't apply to it, but you definitely should. Basically, I'm not too sure how it works, but you apply to it and it'll pay for, I think, it'll cover the initial application fee. So the $179. And you have to request a fee waiver before you submit your application. So since CASPA just opened up, I would probably recommend you guys to do this like as soon as possible and see if you can get that waiver. That way you can save yourself some money. So there's that. Obviously, creating your account, just like anything else, you have to create an account for logging in. Is anyone reapplying to CASPA? Okay, so skip. And then so program selection. In order to start your application, you have to, I think, just pick one program. It doesn't even matter if you don't want to apply to it. Just pick one program and then add it to your profile. And then you can add or delete programs anytime throughout your process of submitting. So you can always modify that. And then obviously the pricing. There's a first time fee of $179. So the first school that you submit an application to, that one will cost you $179. Everyone after that will be $55, unless you get the fee waiver, which covers that initial cost. I think that's what I'm understanding. Sandeep, do you have a question?
Oh no, did I raise my hand again? No, I didn't.
Okay. And then so this here, I wonder if I can. So this here is your main dashboard. This is CASPA. This is what it looks like. So it's divided into 4 quadrants: your personal info, academic history, supporting info, program materials. So personal info, you're gonna have like geographic location, stuff like that, date of birth, you know, the basic stuff. Under academic history, that's where you're gonna input all your coursework. That's where you're gonna go and request your transcripts. Let's see what else is under there. And also any like GRE, MCAT, PACAT, oh God, stuff like that. And the supporting info, that's where you'll find your, that's where you submit your personal statement. And that's also where you will fill out all your experiences. And in the program materials, your program materials are in a sense kind of your supplemental requirements from each program. So some programs will have additional supplemental questions under program materials, and some will not. Western did not have any additional things that I had to do for them. Charles Drew and Compton also did not. A lot of programs for sure, they have certain prereqs that they want you to kind of match up. So that's where you'll do it as well. You kind of match up your prereqs for each program. And then if they have any additional questions or essays or short answer questions that they want you to answer, they'll have them there as well. So make sure you look into that as well, so you can start doing those little supplemental questions, because those actually kind of took me a little bit to do. So just so you're aware. But then just because they ask you some supplemental questions here, that doesn't mean that some programs actually won't even send you more questions later. It just depends on the program. And a way that I kind of kept track of all of this, I'll show you guys in a little bit, as I like made my whole document and kind of say, do they have an additional supplemental, or is only supplemental material that they need found on the CASPA program materials section? Just make sure you look at the program's website and on CASPA to see what it is that they require. So one thing I wish I knew is that, because I had created a CASPA account years ago, but I didn't know how the actual submission part of it worked. So you can actually submit to a single program at any specific time. So let's say, you know, there's 4 programs that are rolling admissions and you're ready to submit to one of the programs. You can actually hit submit and pay for that specific program to be submitted before you submit to the other programs. So if there's programs that are not rolling and you want to just wait to gain more experience and have that on your application, you can wait to submit that one. But something important to note, as soon as you submit your first application, any coursework that you have inputted like if you have any in progress coursework at that time of submitting, that grade for that class will not be calculated in CASPA's GPA. Does that make sense? Just so you guys know. So if you're like at the cusp of meeting a GPA requirement and you're like depending on this one class to like get you that GPA requirement, you should probably wait for that grade to be published. I could be wrong because I also know that some programs are kind of more forgiving and awesome, and you can actually, you know, speak to the actual program advisor and send them any final official transcripts to them. So in order to do that, you would just have to really keep in contact with that program and ask, hey, so I still have this course in progress. Do you guys recommend me to wait to submit my CASPA application till that grade gets published? Or is it okay if I just submit now and I can send you like my official transcript later? But just know that after you submit, CASPA does a verification process where they go through your transcripts and verify that everything is correct and then build your GPA from there. And once they do that initial verification of grades, your GPA will not be modified for the whole cycle. Does that make sense? Yeah. So yeah, just so you guys know. Let's see. So for requesting transcripts, oh, also another thing about submitting, you can request your transcripts to be sent, and you can request your letter of recommendations and still submit your CASPA application with those transcripts and letter recommendations pending. So the only thing is CASPA won't start verifying it until they receive, I believe it's 2 letter recommendations and all the transcripts basically. So you can actually submit if like everything is ready to go and you're just waiting on your, you know, your letter of references and or your reference letters and your transcripts, you can actually just submit if you want. But just know that it won't get, your information won't get verified until at least 2 recommendation letters, if I'm correct, are in and all your transcripts are in. That's something I also didn't know and wish I knew. So it's like you don't have to wait for your recommendation letters to be in, but you also don't want to like, you want to give your recommenders a deadline date to when you want them to have those things in. And then the actual, I manually inputted all of my courses in here. It's really simple, really. The only thing that I found challenging at times was figuring out if a certain course was biology or was it life science, you know? And there in the CASPA Help Center, if you type in like subjects or like course subjects, how to find that out, they literally have a list of like anthropology, what they classify it as, genetics, what they classify that as, EMT, what they classify that as. So if you don't know and are not sure, you can look at that, or you can also go to live chat and ask them what they think you should list it as. That's also something I wish I would have done sooner, because it kind of not held me back, but it did hold me back a little bit because I just didn't know. And then that's also important in a way, because if you guys use the CASPA GPA calculator, are you familiar with that? What I did was input every single course that I had a grade for on that Excel document that's available on the CASPA website. And then on a separate tab, I just copied and pasted all of those but only kept the ones that CASPA deemed as a science course, because I wanted to have a good idea of what my science GPA was going to be. So that was, at first I was having trouble because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to meet this science prereq because I'm like right below the requirement. So unless they count these courses as science, then I think I'll be okay. So that was kind of like a mini stressful moment. So I highly recommend you guys do that if you haven't done so already. Just list all your classes and then identify which ones CASPA would identify as science, and that way you have your projected GPA. And my GPAs ended up matching up to what ended up being verified. Because I know a lot of people have trouble with that, but it shouldn't be that difficult because it's all here for you to figure out. And if you need help with that, like, you can ask me and anything. Requesting transcripts is also pretty simple. I'm sure you guys have maybe requested an official transcript here and there from a university via like the National Clearinghouse or all those weird things. Some schools will want you to download this like cover sheet. Let me see if I can zoom in. This one here. If they want you to, I had to do this for my UCLA one. That's it. It was like this cover sheet, and I'm sorry guys, I don't remember exactly how this happened, but I'm pretty sure it'll tell you, like, you know, this university requires, or we require a cover sheet from this, and like CASPA provides it for you or something, because obviously it has like CASPA's name on it. So it's pretty simple. So just make sure that you order your transcripts as soon as you can. Just because of that, I remember I was like, wait, what is this? Because I had no idea about that. But it doesn't take too long. And then in your status column on your CASPA account, it'll always notify you of what transcripts have arrived from what school and what recommendation letters they have received from each individual. So you can always check your status there. So here's that thing that I was talking about. Can I submit my application before my transcripts are received by CASPA? Yes, once you have successfully filled out your application, you can submit to CASPA at any time. However, your application will not be processed until CASPA has received all of your transcripts and your payment. So this is pretty self-explanatory, I feel like. Okay, so repeated courses. On CASPA, they define repeated courses as you taking the same exact course at that same exact college or university. So for instance, I retook a lot of my prereqs because I got C's at UCLA in like a lot of my science courses, but I retook a lot of those same science courses at my community colleges back home. Those do not count as repeated courses per CASPA. However, Western University, and I'm thinking I was like, wow, so maybe this is why they gave me an interview. They, as part of their supplemental, they will ask you to kind of submit their own version of this repeated courses, but they actually will recalculate your GPA. Like they'll just completely get rid of the first not so good grade, whereas CASPA just does an average. Western actually completely replaced the grade. So I'm guessing that's why, like, I mean, I'm sure my GPA was way higher once they did that, because I had like a lot of C's in my science prereqs at UCLA and all A's, you know, after that. So I'm sure it made a difference. And some programs will do that. So make sure you're looking into that as well. If you're like, oh, you know, I don't know if I'll be a good candidate, make sure you look into see if they'll recalculate your GPA, and that might actually, you know, really help you out. I swear that's probably what happened to me. Just kidding. AP courses. Yeah, so they'll ask you, do you have, it's really simple. Like a lot of people are like, oh my God, CASPA, but it's not that bad, guys. All the information is there. Do you receive credit for any advanced placement exams? So I actually, on my UCLA transcript, it said, it was just one line. It said 20 credits for AP courses, but it didn't give me like course credit. Like it let me surpass taking those courses when I was there, but it didn't actually give me credit for a certain course. So I actually put no on here when I submitted the application myself. And then when CASPA verified my application, they actually modified this part here that you see here. They modified it themselves and they put like AP credit 20. But that was it. Like it was really weird. So just know that they do a thorough, good job. I mean, I haven't known anybody with a bad experience of like going through your transcripts and making sure everything is on there correctly. And then I didn't do the transcript entry service. I did it all myself, but I believe Junior did it. And yeah, so I don't know too much about it, but basically, if you want them to input all your courses the right way the first time, you can pay to do that. So that's something you can do if you want, but I'm not personally familiar with that process, but you can always look into it. I didn't do any study abroad, so I'm not sure how it would work, but it's pretty self-explanatory. They'll ask you a question. Did you take blah, blah, blah? Yes or no? And if it's yes, then they'll move you on to the next section. So here's that PTE service. $65 for up to 3 transcripts, $90 for 4 to 6 transcripts, $140 for 7 or more transcripts. I didn't use it, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just trying to save money here. I also did not take the GRE, you guys. So I can't really attest to how it works from when you take the actual GRE and sending them the test scores to also inputting it here. If you're planning to take the test after the application opens, you can add your GRE scheduled test date. Oh, okay, that's cool. Are you guys taking the GRE? Beach, did you take it? Do you plan on taking it?
Yes, I am planning on taking it.
Oh, nice. You have it scheduled?
No, not yet. I'm still
Okay.
gonna finish some prereqs first, and then I'll schedule myself to take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so you know, you can like refer back to this. Okay, so here's a supporting info section. This is where you'll send your rec. Have you done this part? Oh, I'm sorry, it barely opened yesterday. I'm like, did you do this? Did you do this? No pressure, I promise.
The most I've done is I've requested some of my transcripts.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And I'm gonna email one of my professors tonight to send in my LOR because she already wrote me one. We were just waiting on CASPA to open up. So.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yay, awesome. So exciting. Oh my gosh, so happy for you. I also sent to your Fresno State email. So I had 5 people write me a letter, the max. I don't know why. I was like, look, go big or go home. Like, because to me, my GPA wasn't the greatest. So I had, what was my overall? I think it was like my overall was 3.34. And my science GPA was like 3.2. So, it was kind of on the lower end. So that's why when, throughout my journey, I was like, I really need to go hard on my experiences and show that, you know, even though, you know, I may not look great on GPA, even though I retook all these classes and I got straight A's after, but you know, the average. I want to show them that I'm determined to learn as much as I can before applying to PA school. So that's, you know, and you kind of have to evaluate yourself on that. You know, okay, where am I strongest in my application? Where am I weakest, and where can I improve? So to me, I was like, I need to improve on my experiences. My personal statement better be badass, and I should have the best recommenders write me a letter. And then so yeah, so I had one of the doctors from the ER write me one. It was actually pretty cool because when I started scribing there, he was a resident. And then so I kind of grew with him as he became an attending physician in the ER. And he was always very nice. And he was always giving me compliments like, oh, you know, you do a really good job. So, you know, and you see that, like, you know who to ask, who you feel comfortable, who can attest to your work ethic and stuff like that. So I asked him. I asked 2 PAs from the department as well. I asked my medical Spanish instructor from West Hills, because I thought that would be great. You know, I didn't have a science professor write me one because I didn't really get close to any of them. So I was like, oh man, I need like an academic one. I was like, okay, I'll ask my medical Spanish instructor. You know, it's academic, you know, it's medical Spanish, you know, it'll show a side of me that maybe a lot of applicants don't, you know. So I was like, YOLO. And then I asked my ER tech supervisor to write me one. So it was, you know, doctor, 2 PAs, academic, and work related. So I think that was a good variety, you know. And I was like, okay, looking at my personal statement, I'm going to talk about this. My experience show this. My grades show this. And then what do I want my recommenders to show? So that's kind of how I chose who to ask as well. And I have an email template. If any of you guys want it, I emailed it to them as well. But yeah, it's just basically, I was like, oh, thank you so much for writing this letter for me. And also, I would want you to mention this, this, and this, because it makes it easier for them too, you know. And yeah, and then I also explained to them, you'll be receiving a link or an email from this email. And I actually took screenshots of what the recommender side looks like from a YouTube video. Okay, I'm like super resourceful sometimes because I wanted to give them the easiest experience in my head, right? So I even screenshot, I was like, this is what you're going to be filling out. You're going to be asked to rate me on how well you know me and this and that. So I just really wanted them to get a good idea of what it was that I was asking them to do. So I have that template for you guys if you guys want to reference it. Oh yeah, so this is how it'll look like. So you'll see the first one, Cindy Hoyle, that one's completed, and the other ones are still requested, so they haven't submitted them yet. Okay, and then for the experiences section, y'all, this takes forever, especially if you have a lot of experiences. I thought I started early enough on this. I wish I would have started earlier on this, like literally maybe a year, the year before. That's just me though, because I had a lot of experiences like from undergrad, and remember this was like an 8-year journey for me. So I was like, oh dang, you know, I need to contact this organization and I haven't yet. So I mean, don't procrastinate on this part, because you have to write little summaries for each. Veach, I mean, I think you're the only one applying right now, so that's why I'm picking on you. But have you done the experiences?
No, not yet. I'm going to though, eventually.
Okay, Keen. So I have also like a helpful template. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you guys have all these templates too. I'm like, I'm not the only one who has this template, but I basically structured it to look exactly to what you need to fill out on CASPA. So that way you can just use that form. And then once it comes for you to transfer everything, you can just like copy and paste and it'll be much easier, you know? But yeah, and if you ever, well, right here in this, it tells you exactly what leadership experience is, what extracurriculars is, what teaching is. And you can kind of, if you're like, man, you know, this one might be, you know, extracurricular, but it's also kind of leadership, but it's also kind of teaching. At least that's what I had for me. So I was like, okay, what? Because I wanted to diversify my application, right? So I was like, okay, well, I don't have anything under teaching experiences. So I'm gonna just make this one a teaching experience and word it in a way that it sounds like a teaching experience, or word it in a way that it sounds like a leadership experience, you know? So playing with words, super advantageous. Yeah, so, you know, you can spend a good amount of time, you know, just doing your descriptions on this. Do you have any questions on the experiences part? Anybody?
When it comes to like the teaching experience, would like tutoring elementary schoolers be considered as teaching experience, even though you're not like teaching like college level students?
Yeah, I would put it as teaching experiences because it says here, experiences which you were in charge of instructing others,
Mhm.
such as teaching assistant, tutor, you
Yeah.
know? Mhm.
But when I was tutoring, it was like it was a job. So like I would just, if I'm gonna use it as a teaching experience, then will I not be able to use it as a employment experience as well? Like, because I know that there's this rule that you can't double dip.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, so for your tutoring thing, because with each description, it'll ask you what type of experience it is, aka is it employment, is it research, volunteer, teaching, blah blah blah. And then under each one, it'll ask you, was this, how were you compensated? Like, were you compensated with money? Was it volunteer or something else? I forgot. So I think if I were you, it's, to me, it's like more significant that you list it as a teaching experience and like say how, you know, you taught others and maybe it was, you know, whatever, what methods you used to tutor these kids and what you learned from it. And then, you know, just put that you were compensated for it, you know, and that's how they know that it was a job. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, and the double dip thing. So for the shadowing for me, if I could count, I mean, literally scribing is shadowing. I'm not gonna put that I shadowed 2,000 hours, you know, because I was scribing. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to ask one of the PAs if I can list, I think it was like 16 hours of like actual shadowing time with her. And she said, yeah. So that's what I did. I put that I shadowed her for 16 hours and then what I learned from her. And then, but I made sure to subtract that amount from my actual scribing time. So I know a lot of applicants, let's say they're scribing and they worked a total of 500 scribing hours, but in those 500 hours, they were with a PA for 100 hours. You have to subtract that. So you have to put, okay, well, I actually worked 400 hours as a scribe and 100, I was actually shadowing a PA. So that's what they mean by double dip. Yeah, it's like, you know, you have to be fair. So yeah, so for example, also another example for me, I was in my sorority, I was vice president, I was academic chair. We also did a lot of volunteer, a lot of mentoring to younger high school Latinas. So I kind of separated each. So for leadership, I had vice president. I also had academic chair. And then for teaching experience, I actually isolated a time where I actually created my own workshops for our Latina Youth Leadership Conference, where I presented and like on A through G requirements, and where I presented on, like, I literally made this whole presentation on the PA profession and other health careers you didn't know about. And I actually invited my orthodontist to go speak at this event in LA. So, you know, I wanted to isolate that to showcase, you know, what I did in that aspect, but, you know, I had to subtract the hours from my actual sorority involvement. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like another example of not how to double dip. Achievements. I was so sad. I was like, wow, I don't think I have a lot of achievements per their descriptions. So, you know, if you have honors, you can put that here. If you got scholarships, you can put that here. You got employee of the month, you can put that here. Literally any little achievement, just put it on there. I actually was debating, should I put that I got like a full ride scholarship to undergrad? And I was like, you know what? I am, because even though I got it in high school, it got me through college. And I think it shows, you know, my character and my growth. You know what I mean? So I put it there. If you feel like it'll help you, you know, look well-rounded and tell a little something extra about you, then definitely put it there. But yeah, this is like for your achievements, and it's really simple. You just, you know, is it like, I forget what type of awards. I think it's like award, honor. Oh, here we go. Awards, honors, publications, and scholarships. So like if you guys were involved in research and you actually got it published and stuff like that, like you should definitely put it here. And yeah, so, and then the description isn't that long. It's pretty simple. Your licenses or certifications. So this is where I put my CPR certification, my EMT certification. I believe that's all that I personally had on there. So any certifications that you hold, you would put here. I didn't put my medical Spanish certification because there wasn't really a certificate to it. Like there wasn't really a number or a card to it. It was just like through the hospital that I was certified through them. You know what I mean? So I didn't put it there. But I put it as an experience. And then the essay, you guys can ask me about your essays, I think in the Q&A. I think we all pretty much more or less know about this, the dreaded essay. Memberships. So I was part of AAPA. Are you guys familiar with that? Okay. But I didn't really do much. All I did was receive magazines from them in the mail. Like, what am I gonna put, like received magazines? So, and I was debating, well, should I put that I was a member? But to me, my membership wasn't significant, so I didn't put it. And I tried Googling this to see what others do, and like people who actually like put their membership for them, like actually like kind of did stuff. So I was like, nah, like I feel like I'll be taking it too far if I put that like I'm a member, you know what I mean? So I didn't put that there. But yeah, this is if you're a member to any like professional organizations, such as physician assistant group or an association of healthcare professionals. I was not, so I didn't have anything under here. And then so here's the program materials for each program. They'll be listed like they are here, and then you click on each program and then you fill it out. So here's an example. So for instance, at this program, they have four subheadings here: home, questions, documents, prereqs. For Western, for example, I think it only had the prereqs and the home. For Charles Drew, I think it only had like the prereqs. Like some programs have like not much else that you have to do, but some programs you have to submit more, like and answer questions. So just again, an application can be submitted before the receipt of official transcripts, evals, and GRE scores. However, it will not be officially reviewed and verified until they are received. So more info on that. Good luck. No, but this was very helpful presentation that I constantly kept going back to. Do you have any questions? Oh, when you submit, you'll get an email from CASPA, and this is what it looks like. This is the actual email that I got. So, hi Samantha, congratulations. We received your CASPA application. Next, your application will go through a verification process that ensures all your coursework was entered correctly before it's sent to your program. So, and then it tells you more, we must receive the following. On average for me, this verification process took like under a week. I'm not saying to rely on that information, but just to give you like an idea of how long it took for my thing to be verified. So when I first submitted to my first program, it took, I think, maybe like 4 days, including the weekend. So it didn't take much. And then after that, after I submitted to each other program, it only took a couple days because it was technically already verified and I hadn't added any new information. And then eventually, so you'll get this email from CASPA, and then eventually each program will send you their own email and tell you, hey, we received your CASPA application, it's now under review. And then the waiting game begins. So that's kind of how it works. And then here's just more links to how to submit. Like it's just, this link is just the CASPA Help Center. It just tells you the process of how to submit and what you need to submit. And then I've kind of already mentioned all of this. You know, these are just the documents that I use. I can show you. This is actually my actual document. So on the blue, I have each program. And then obviously you can see how I have it organized on top, and I kind of filled in information. I had notes under each program, like any significant notes. Like for example, Stanford's, they had a semi-rolling admissions type. So I was like, what the heck is that? So I made sure to copy and paste it and put it in my notes so I knew what it would meant or what it would mean so I wouldn't forget. And then so on the status section, this kind of changed as time went on. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys. So for example, for Stanford, at one point, I was like, okay, so I still haven't submitted my CASPA app for Stanford. I still haven't done their supplemental question, and I'm still waiting to do the CASPA exam to submit to them. And then eventually, let's see, for instance, for Turo, I actually got invited to submit a supplemental to them, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm still waiting to hear back from them to see if I'll get an interview. For CSU Monterey Bay, I just submitted the application as well. So I'm just waiting to hear back if I get an interview. But I mean, at this point, by the time I hear back from any of them, like school's already going to start for me. Rejected, you already know. So yeah, this is just kind of like how I tracked my progress for each program. And then I also, after that, I kind of had for each program, I just kind of listed their mission statement, like just a bunch of notes for each program. I went to their website, copied and pasted everything. If there was like supplemental questions, I would do them here and like type them out, just so I just wanted to have everything like one spot. So this is, I mean, almost 100 pages long. So yeah, that's just a resource for you guys, or to give you an idea. Let's see, this is my, I have it in pink because I like pink. But so I wanted to have, yes, these are my actual grades. All of my courses, like just neatly there for me to see. And all the green is what I counted as science courses. And then down here, you know, my overall GPA, I put it 3.34. And then my science GPA, I was like, okay, so it's either going to be 3.23 if it includes these two courses, if they count them as a science, or it'll be 3.15 if they don't count them as a science. So I think they ended up counting both of them as a science. So ended up 3.2. This is just like, I just needed to know what it was going to look like. And then you don't have to do this. This is just an idea, but I also kind of set it up in a way, in the same way that CASPA would have it. So I listed every course here, typed it up exactly how I was going to type it into CASPA. That way, when it came time to it, I could just copy and paste from here to my CASPA application. But you don't have to do that, obviously. But I just kind of wanted to make sure that I was typing out everything correctly and not making a mistake on the actual CASPA application. So I wanted to do it on something else first. And that's just me. And then, so this is my experience template. I color coded it to every experience, you know, a different color, rainbow. And then, so this is a chart. So this is basically everything that CASPA is going to ask you for. So I had my description here. In parentheses, I have the total number of characters, including spaces that it took. Max is 600 for your experiences description. And then over here, I have, you know, all the information that they're going to ask of you. So the organization name, supervisor, contact phone, email, experience dates, and details. So type of recognition, compensated, received academic credit, or volunteer. So that's what I was mentioning earlier. And then, oh, for the total hours, you know, you might have like a volunteer experience that maybe you only do for a month or 2 months. For example, Relay for Life for me, I really was only involved like 1 to 2 months during the year, each year. So in total, where is it? Volunteer. So here. So total hours, I just counted. Okay, in total, I think I've had like 50 hours of Relay for Life. It's been over the course of like, if you see here, start date and end date, that's like over a course of 8 years, but you need to like just average it so that the total hours make sense. So you can say, you know, I really only did like 5 weeks throughout all those years and an average of 10 hours a week. What matters is that your total hours add up. Does that make sense? So yeah, and this is what took me forever, guys. Just filling out everything. But I think it was very helpful in the end, just to have it organized. And I also have like the empty template if you guys want it. And then this is the email template that I was telling y'all about. I sent this to your Fresno State email as well. And then this is just a link to the CASPA Help Center and that Excel sheet on how to calculate your GPAs. Yeah, and just a few helpful resources, that live chat, Me Mentors, Prepay Student Network. I think you guys are pretty active on there. I see you guys post on there quite a bit. Instagram, you guys, I know like Instagram is like big social media, but like there's so many academic resources on there, like a lot. I've actually reached out to a lot of pre-PA, current PA students, PACs on there for like numerous things. I'm applying to the National Health Scholarship, and I actually just DM'd a scholar like 2 weeks ago, asking her for like advice and certain questions about the scholarship. So it's a good resource. It just goes back to like using all your resources and networking whenever you can. Google, the physician assistant forum, and all of that. And this is just what the live chat looks like. Little button here on the corner, and then this is what it looks like. And yeah, that's it. My gosh, it took forever. I'm so thirsty.
Okay, well, thank you, Sam. That was honestly like, I think it was amazing. I really, really liked the presentation. I feel like you really like motivated me, you know?
Oh, I'm happy.
Yeah.
If I can motivate just somebody for 5 minutes, then it's worth it to me, you know?
Yeah, probably gonna put you in my personal statement.
Stop it, stop.
This was my turning moment.
Oh, you guys are so nice.
We actually have a question in the chat for you.
Oh, for sure.
It's, how did you know being a PA was the right career for you? And did you ever have any doubts about it?
Okay, so I'll go back to that moment. Okay, so when I was brainstorming for my personal statement, and I actually gave myself a lot of time to write my personal statement, guys, because I hate writing. I hate writing, okay? Hate it. I don't know if like all you other like science people hate it too. I freaking hate it. Doesn't mean I'm bad at it. I just don't like it. It takes me a long time to write. So I made sure I give myself enough time. But so when I was, thinking of ways to do my personal statement, I was like, should I talk about how my reasons for becoming a PA have changed significantly since I first found out about it? Because so when I told you guys, when I felt lost during my first year in undergrad, to me, I didn't want to be a doctor because I wanted to be married and have kids by the time I was 25, 24. Crazy. Like, I can't believe I used to think that. But that was my mindset at that time. And I was like, how am I going to do that if med school and residency is like 8 years, blah, blah, blah. This was my mindset. Okay, this was my mindset at the time. So when I went to my mentor, Mr. Arroyo, at the high school, and he told me to PA, and then I found out more about it, I was like, OMG, it's only 2 years. They don't have as much responsibility as doctors do. They just go in, treat the patient, and get out. Like, I love that. That's all I wanted. I just want to like help people and treat people and make a decent amount of money. And awesome, like if I get tired of one specialty, I can like go to another. That was my initial mindset. And that was also kind of the same for when I went to that the career center, the panelists. I was also like, oh my gosh, yes, like this will allow me to have my family in a reasonable amount of time, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm 27 years old right now, and I realized that you can be whatever you want to be and have a family whenever you want. And you shouldn't use your job as an excuse to not do what you want to do. You know what I mean? And I've also learned that PAs have a lot of responsibility. They're super important healthcare providers. They bridge the gap for a lot of underserved communities who need a lot of primary care or even specialty care, because you don't have a lot of specialty care in the areas where we're at. you know? And I like the idea that I could, you know, do fellowships or switch up my specialty or even work different specialties at the same time to improve like my knowledge at the same time. You know what I mean? So yeah, since I first found out about it, the reasons for why I knew I wanted to be a PA changed. And I think that just solidifies that I really want to be a PA and am looking forward to being part of this amazing profession, because even amongst this like differing mindset, like I was able to see just how cool the PA profession is in itself. And doctors have families, residents have families, PA students have families. There are single moms just getting into PA school, raising their babies by themselves. Like, you know, that's just not an excuse. You know, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. You can be whatever you want to be, whenever you want to be it. I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah.
I think so. Who was it to ask? I don't know. I don't remember anymore, but
Oh,
I don't know if
sorry.
you
It was Best. Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
and if anyone else has any questions, now is the time to ask.
I have a question because I'm also interested in Western U.
Mhm.
So I know that they don't require patient care experience, but volunteer experience. Is there like a specific amount of hours that they're looking for? Do you know?
For patient care experience or volunteer?
Volunteer experience.
I don't off the top of my head. Let me see. Let's Google it.
And then at the same time, do you know if they're like a rolling admission or like?
So yeah, I think they are rolling.
Okay.
And that reminds me. Wait, can you guys see my screen still?
Yes.
Okay, that reminds me. I applied to Western and I think July. So even though it was like, so it's considered early if you submit your application May through June, but you shouldn't really go past June. But I submitted mine in July. I don't remember why, but I did. And, you know, here I am now. So anything is possible. But obviously, you should always, if a school is rolling admissions, you should apply as early as you can to give yourself the best shot. Let's see.
Because the issue is that like I'm still waiting to take genetics, and that's one of the requirement classes.
Oh, that's reach. That's why I submitted in July, because I was also taking genetics in the
Mhm.
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I took it online at, I think it was Citrus College. So I wanted to wait for that one to have it at least in progress. Yeah, that's why I submitted it a little later.
So that's my issue with having to hold on with applying to the school. So
What was I gonna ask? When do you start it, or are you currently in it?
I haven't started yet. I'm starting, I believe, June.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's
think
a
you start
2 month
June, like
course.
June 21st or something.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's through UCSD extension. So
Okay. Let's see. Well, I don't remember if you're allowed to have in progress courses when you apply. Must be completed, yada, yada, yada. See or better. Must be completed by the spring term prior to matriculation.
Would that mean
Mm,
used?
so So that means that you can have it in progress. So you could list it, if I'm reading this correctly, you could list it as in progress and still submit your application to them. Yeah, I can look into it more and we can look into it more together. But yeah, we can find out. But yeah, I think it means that you can, as long as it's done by spring of 2022, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you'll definitely have it done by then.
Because 2022 would be the matriculation year for the next incoming class. Okay.
Yes, correct. I wonder why I waited then. I don't know why I waited. Oh my God, it's awful. It was barely last year, but a lot of stuff happened last year. But yeah.
I had a question, Sammy.
Mhm.
So, I took the Spanish course, or I'm currently taking a Spanish course at Fresno State. I took Spanish 1A at Fresno State in the fall, and I'm taking the second half with the same professor. And like, I really like go to her office hours, and I like talk to her, and she like we get along really well. But my thing is, would it be okay to ask her for a letter of rec, even though Spanish is not my first language? Like, I'm taking Spanish because it's recommended by like a lot of schools. So I'm taking a year of Spanish now, and I'll be done. But I have a good relationship with that professor. So even though it's not like a science course and Spanish isn't my first language, would it be okay to still ask her for a letter of rec?
So I think what I'm gonna say is you should, whenever you're deciding who to ask for letters of recommendation, make a list of every possible person that you know you could ask. And then under
Okay.
each person, list why you want to ask them and what they can attest about you. And then
Okay.
kind of see, this person can attest to my, hard work ethic. This person can attest to my volunteer commitment. This person can attest to my academic improvement, or this person can attest to my dedication to learning another language in an area where I live that a lot of people speak it, and I have a good relationship with her, and I think she could write me a very professional but heartfelt application because she likes me and she has a good relationship with me. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I asked my instructor, because I knew she told me at first, she was like, if you ever need a letter recommendation, please ask me. Like, I will write you one. I will write you a good one. And I was like, okay, girl. And then, eventually, our relationship, like, did grow. And like, I love her so much. Like, literally, she bakes me treats like at least twice a month. And I go before work because she lives like really close to the hospital. And then so yeah, that's why I asked her. So yeah, definitely. I mean, if you feel like she could write you a great letter that can attest to things that'll, speak to something that isn't maybe that noted in your personal statement or in your description, then why not?
All right. Yeah.
You just kind
Thank
of
you.
have to assess everything. And very important, y'all. You also obviously have to check the program's website and see. Sometimes they have specifications. They're like, one letter has to come from science professor, one letter has to come from PA, or so obviously, I know you guys knew that, but just to remind you.
Well, if there aren't any other students who have questions, then we can go ahead and end the meeting here. I don't know if anyone else has any.
Yeah, I have a question you sent me. Sorry, Brittany, if I interrupt.
Go ahead.
But obviously, I guess like I sit in a similar position as you, and as many of us, in which we don't really come from. Really, we just don't have money. Keep it simple. We don't have the most money, and obviously, you're at that point where you're obviously going to go into PA school. You're gonna have to pay for that. It's gonna be like an investment, you could say, right? How are you? What's your thoughts about that? I know you mentioned the NH something scholarship. I know there's like a lot of good things with that, and it's one that really a lot of pre-PA students know about. But do you know of any other resources, maybe anything that you got, I don't know, that helped you out? Obviously you mentioned some more during the CASPA application too that you could apply to, but just anything in general, how you're paying for it, stuff like that.
So for the CASPA application itself, I don't really know of any scholarships or maybe other fee waivers to waive those application fees. So I never really looked into that part of it because I'm blessed, truly blessed, because I know a lot of people, don't have this, but my parents, like I've been living at home, so I don't pay rent. There's food on the table every day. So literally my jobs as scribing, as ER tech, as a cashier at Sears, I knew that all my jobs were going to be for applying to PA school and for like saving. So I knew that if I needed to dish out, how much did I spend? You see, I don't even know like the total amount that I spent on my applications, because to me it was just money that I was going to spend on anyways. But if I needed to spend, like, for example, my deposit for Western, it was $1,000. But I knew that I was going to have to do a deposit, so I saved up for it. So that's just me. As for the CASPA, like I said, I don't know if any resources aside from that waiver, and I would look more into it, and also like just Google, like I say, just Google. The NHSC scholarship is an amazing scholarship put on by the National Health Service Corps. So basically what this scholarship is they will pay, this entity will pay for all of your tuition and give you a monthly stipend in exchange for your service in an underserved qualifying health center as primary care, or like, there's like primary care, there's like women's health, like in that primary care field. So that's what I'm applying to right now. What was I going to say about that? Brain fart. But so yeah, so that program is available to dental students, pre-PA students, or PA students, med students, any students. And if you don't get it your first year, you can always apply again the next year and at least have maybe the second year paid for. If you don't get the scholarship, then there's also the loan repayment, the NHSC loan repayment program, which Junior is currently doing. So for that, it's different, because for every 2 years of service that you provide at a qualifying clinic or wherever, they'll pay $50,000 worth of your loans. So it'll take, technically, I guess it'll take longer, because with the NHSC scholarship, you have to pay back in service the amount of years that you actually got the scholarship for. But yeah, those are the two main things that I currently know about right now. And I'm in the process of still looking for more stuff. But yeah, I mean, pretty much everybody does the loan thing. Everybody does the loan thing. And it sucks because, you know, it's a lot. And I'm lucky also in that my significant other actually just got a job. So he's, in a way, while I'm in school, he's going to be saving up for our future, you know, home, whatever plans we have for that. So yeah, I mean, that's right now, that's where I'm at. I'm still learning, like I'm always learning and researching more. Obviously, if I find any helpful scholarships, resources, I will always share because I believe in sharing is caring. Yeah, so sorry, Ish. That's where I'm at right now.
No, it's no big. I mean, that basically answered the question in detail enough to where like I feel confident just going on searching, you know, aside from those.
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate it. And then also just quick, you know, quick sponsor, I guess you could say, right? You know, quick little thing. Sammy is part of Meme Mentor as well. She usually posts on there any resources you find. So if you haven't and don't know what Meme Mentor is, feel free to email me and maybe you make an account and stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, Vish, do you have a question?
Oh, I was gonna ask Sammy if it's okay with her, like, can we follow you on your Instagram page?
Yeah, you can.
Right.
Yeah, I'm super like, you know, I believe, you know, we don't have to be super professional, like follow me, whatever, on my social media if you find me there, or I'll give you guys my info. Yeah, follow me, please follow me. That way you can look at my followers, the people who I follow, so you can see, you know, the helpful accounts that I'm following. Because I can't list them all in a PowerPoint, it's a lot.
Sunny, did you want to say something?
No, why did I raise my hand? No, I didn't. I
No.
was just gonna say you can take over so we can wrap up the meeting.
Okay, so before we totally end the meeting though, we do want to take a quick picture like of the screen, I guess, of Zoom, since we're not really in person, but
Wow.
all the members with you. So I hope everybody got the information on the screen, but if not, you guys can just email us. So Sam, if you could stop screen sharing, please, and then we'll just take the picture.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, hold on.
And also quickly while Sam's doing that, if you haven't filled out the exit form, although we're a little bit flexible with attendance, we're planning in the future to obviously make that a little bit more, you know, crucial and being an actual member, an active member at least of the club. So definitely fill it out so you can stay, you know, updated on not only past PowerPoints and this PowerPoint, but also future ones.
Do any of you guys want to turn on you guys' cameras to our members so you can take our
Yes,
picture
please.
and post it on our social media page?
Don't be shy.
Oh, we lost a member. Now I feel.
He's like, I don't want it. Okay. I'm gonna come backwards from 3 and then I'm gonna press the screenshot button, okay?
Okay.
So whatever you guys wanna do. 3, 2, 1. Should I take a couple? Just keep doing whatever you guys wanna do. Okay, I think we're good.
Wow. Never would have thought it'd come down to this. Just kidding. Oh, also, I want to give you guys a shout out for creating the pre-PA club. I mean, it's a big thing. Like I'm proud of you guys. Like I really am. Like we needed a pre-PA club here in the Central Valley. I don't know if the Bakersfield has one, but to my knowledge, you guys are what we got.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that with time we can expand to the community colleges in the surrounding areas. Because I tried to do a little something at West Hills and it was just like, it was not happening because a lot of, as you know, a lot of community college students just go to school and then go home, you know, because it's not like much to stay for. everybody pretty much lives at home. There's no dorms. So it's really hard to retain people for clubs like that, especially if there's like at the closest university, there's also like nothing established for what you're trying to do. So I think, thank you guys for starting this. I'm so proud of you, and I look forward to what y'all are gonna do.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I know that we took an extra hour of your time, but we are really
I don't even know what time it is.
because our set time was like from 4:30 to 5:30, but like we went up till 6:32.
Hey, what did she say this morning? She was like, you can take as long as you want. I guess I really took that part.
Milena did say there's no time limit.
So yeah,
But no, thank you for coming. We really appreciate you sharing your story with us, Sammy.
no problem, no problem.
I was gonna cry at some point. I held my tears back.
Stop it. Oh my
It's like,
gosh. Making me blush. Just kidding. Keep hustling, y'all.
Thank you.
I'll send my, follow me on Instagram, whatever. I'll like email all my contact info, and you can share like my cell phone number. Brittany, I know you have it for sure. Like you guys can text me, like, please, whatever is easier.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you to our members for coming. Board members, if you guys could stay on just a little longer. Sammy, feel free to stay if you want for a debrief, or you could leave. It's up to you.
Yeah.
I think I'll leave now.
Go eat or something. Go have dinner.
I know, I need to cook. All right, guys. Well,
Bye.
I'll see y'all later. Reach out if you need anything, okay?
Bye.
Okay.
Oh wow, that was
She
like
was
our
sweet.
longest
I like her.
meeting. Yeah, she was
It was
so
long,
sweet.
but yeah.
I know, it was super long. I was sitting here halfway, I turned the camera off because I started sipping on my water and I was like, I don't want to
It
think.
was cool though.
But I was gonna say, do you guys? I think we should skip our board meeting for tomorrow because I don't want Milena to feel like she's missing out on too much. So maybe we can skip our board meeting for tomorrow and just end up meeting Wednesday or Thursday, like early in the morning on a dead day, and then we can just do another walkthrough because our last meeting is next week on that day. So we can meet up Wednesday, Thursday, do our last walkthrough for our meeting on Friday with Mike. And then after that, we can talk to Milena and see where we want to go from there because that will be the last meeting of the semester.
Wait.
So, yeah.
When are we postponing our board meeting to?
So I'm saying instead of meeting tomorrow, let's just meet on dead days for us, Fresno State students. Thursday, Friday, next 6th, 7th is dead days. So I'm thinking we can just meet up in the morning, like 9, 10 on dead days, and we'll do a walkthrough for our last meeting on May 7th, which is at 4:30 again. So kind of like what we did with Sammy today.
Yeah.
But we can just hold it for longer than an hour. So we can also debrief and from this meeting and catch Milena up on everything and then do our walkthrough because our walkthrough took like what, 15 minutes, Brittany? Like it was super fast.
Okay.
Like 15
it might
minutes.
not it might not work for me, but
whatever time works. We can try doing Wednesday evening because it'll be the last day of like classes or whatever.
Yeah, if it's like during the weekdays, then it might have to be like later in the afternoon if you guys want to have me participate as well. But if not, then I won't be able to because I have work because I work full time. So like my shifts rotate between like every other week. I will have weekends off or like it's just all crazy all over the place.
We can work something out because next week we only have school 3 days a week, then it's dead days, and then Saturday, Sunday, like we're off, so whatever works with everybody next week.
I was thinking if Wednesdays, right? That's Wednesday
the last day of class, the 5th.
Oh.
No, dead days is Thursday, Friday, 6th, 7th of May.
Okay.
And our meeting's on the 7th.
Are we gonna meet with the other guy too or no? Like kind of how we did with Sam?
Okay.
Oh, Mike. I don't know. That's what I was saying. I was like, Milena is the one who's been in contact with him, but I don't want to bother her this week. So that's why I was like, maybe if we just meet next week, so it'll be, like we'll be able to reach out to her. So, but if not, I can try and I can message Milena and ask her.
Yeah, we can.
But we can give it a week. Yeah.
And I was thinking from now on, like it'd be cool. Like I was thinking about for a while. I told Brittany too. it's kind of why I was kind of pushing her to lead maybe a little bit more than I should have maybe, but so
What?
my bad, like pushing that too.
Lead.
Oh,
lead. I was thinking we could probably swap the roles. So for example, like Brittany, this time she got in contact with Semi first. I feel like she should be the main point of contact and like main face in that position at least for the pre-PA club. And then she could build that relationship with Sammy, you know, she decides to continue it, you know? So it's kind of like,
And yeah, and I was also thinking instead of having Milena lead every single meeting, let's just alternate. So all 5 of us get a chance to lead a meeting. So like I did this once, and then like the next meeting, the last meeting of the semester, like Ish, Brittany, if each one of you guys could do it.
Mhm.
And we can each alternate reaching out to a physician assistant. Like we can take turns and be like, so and then next meeting, Beach, it's your responsibility to reach out to a health professional. Like we can obviously give you suggestions because it's hard, but then like, you know, we can just all that way we all have taking turns reaching out, making connections, and we all have the chance to lead because we're all gonna need that in our profession anyways, you know. So next meeting I was gonna say we could do that, and that way it's not on like Milena to have to be like, well, I have to create the Zoom meeting, I have to create the agenda, you know what I mean? So it makes it easier on all of us as well.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too, kind of like the whole process of like making it, you know, maybe at least like a couple times, like, you know, obviously we could help each other out. Like I could be like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
help me out with Canva, or Rainy P help me out with the Zoom link, whatever. But
No,
like obviously I think it'd be good to, yeah, like definitely.
she's like, nah.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, definitely. I think we should in the summer, we should definitely like we don't have to change things up now because it's gonna be hard because there's only like 2 weeks left. Everybody's gonna be busy on finals and stuff. But I think definitely in the summer we're gonna have a good 3 months from like May to July to, you know, reform and change. Obviously, we're gonna have to make lots of changes because we're going back to campus, so things are gonna be different. So obviously our positions are the same, but let's think about taking turns about doing the meetings, hosting the Zooms, you know, who's going to start the meeting, who's going to reach out. But obviously we need Milena because she is the president. So yeah, this summer we can plan all of that. I just wanted to make sure that you guys are all okay with not meeting tomorrow. So
Yeah.
we don't have to push Milena on anything. And then next week I'll send out a message and see whatever time works for everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
okay
you
with
guys-
meeting later this week, but also I just want to let you guys know that during the summer I'll actually probably be in Mexico for like the whole
And
summer because that's like where we
partying.
so
We
I know
drinking.
she's like, I'm be out of here. I'm enjoying. No, for
Like,
sure.
go-
We'll have to.
but
She's like, "Don't call them."
I can still text and everything. I just can't, like, the internet connection isn't great
Is-
where I live, so I probably won't be able to like Zoom with you guys, but I can still text, and occasionally I'll have access to internet if we go to like this nearby town. So it'll just be a little
No,
slower. on
don't
my
worry
end.
about it.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think something that mainly summer is just going to be transitioning from Zoom to campus, see what changes we're making, see what we're adding, what we can change up. But a lot of that can be done through text, or like we're really good about like adding people and assigning them assignments on Google Docs. I think it'll be easy process. But yeah, I just want to make sure everybody was good on tomorrow, and then next week, Beach, I will for sure try to do a time that works for you because I want you to be there. So
So
is everybody good with that?
yeah, I'm good with that. Is it a for sure
Okay.
thing that you guys are going transitioning back to being in campus, on campus?
I think as of right now, like for the most part, it's a for sure thing. Like
Okay.
August, everybody will be back. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're vaccinated,
Or is it like a
apparently.
thing? Yeah, or is it like only vaccinated students can be on campus?
That's what I heard, that
I-
you have to be vaccinated. But I
I
don't know.
think the vaccinations are going to be required. I think they said either once the FDA approves one or once we go back. I didn't really understand, but the point is they want to make it required.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but it sounds like there will be some classes, like very little amount of classes online still because my bio 103 class is online. But there are still like the majority is going to be in person. So they're just trying to like bring us all back.
Okay.
So I think for the most part we'll be in person, but that's what I was thinking. Like, are we still going to be doing our meetings on Zoom? Or are we going to start trying to meet on campus?
We would probably do a hybrid. Like I got
Yeah.
that. So, because like most rooms I know they have like an outlet to like share screen. You can literally just share
Mhm.
screen and share it on Zoom at the same time, you know. You can kind of like balancing the two.
Like
Yeah.
whoever can come on campus can be like on
We
campus
can go live.
and
We can go live like you
yeah,
do.
and then go on live for like people that cannot be on campus. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Hmm. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. I was like,
Yeah, I think that would be better. I don't know. We'll
we
just
have time.
play by ear, you know, see how things go.
Yeah, plus Fresno
Yeah.
State's always switching up on us too. So for all we know, August comes, they're gonna be like, you know what, just kidding,
Yeah.
we're back online. So we'll just have to go based off of what like state sends emails on and tells us.
I
to
would be so
do.
upset if they did that. If they're suddenly like, you know what, actually, we're not in person anymore. Because like I have to get a whole apartment or somewhere to live.
It's like
I
you
don't-
gotta
Wait, where
think,
are you from?
I'm
Brittany?
from Porterville.
oh, that's
Ooh.
like an hour and a half out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to be like getting somewhere to live over there and
Yeah.
then like just being in the house or the apartment all day. Like really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, like summer's coming up and people are gonna start going out partying, and you never know, COVID might start going.
That's what I think. I feel like the cases will go up
Yeah.
and then it'll be like hybrid
go
kind
down
of
again,
thing.
yeah.
But I don't know. Fresno State's kind of stupid, so I don't really trust them.
True, that's
I'm
facts.
being honest. Beach, I wanted to ask you, what microbiome class did you take?
I haven't taken microbiology yet. I registered for it for this summer actually. So I'll be taking it alongside genetics and
Biochem. Where
yeah.
are you taking it at?
Micro, I registered for Fresno City College at Fresno City College. So
Is it okay? Is it like the upper division and not the
micro is an upper division course. Yeah.
okay?
So are you asking? Because I know that there are two different. Are there two different kind of micro?
Because I know Fresno State has an introductory and then they have a Bio 120. And the only reason I'm not applying to Western U is because I took Bio 20 and I didn't want to have to take another microbiome class just for one school. Like I have all the other requirements for that school besides Bio 20, but I don't want to have to retake one class.
Go to Western U. You know, remember how I told you guys that they have that prerequisite database?
Oh, data. Yeah.
A database, and then just look at Fresno State and see like what course they enlisted micro as, if that makes
I
sense.
think it might be. Let me see.
I'm thinking
But
like,
I don't.
I remember seeing micro 20 under it, but I'm not sure. Bio 20. So you just have to double check. Yeah.
Yeah, let me check. I just like I was looking through it and I was like, I don't want to have to take micro
Yeah.
all over again. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Because I know
annoying.
that a lot of schools are mainly accepting general bio, right? Something like that.
Mhm.
And not an introductory microbiome course, but you'll just have to double check.
So for micro, it says micro 20, 120, or 140. So then technically 20 counts.
Yeah, so either one of them counts, yeah.
See, that's what annoys me because on their prerequisite course, it says introductory course does
But
not.
then like the thing is like maybe that's just for Western U though. Like others programs might be different. You know what I mean? So,
No, that's what I mean. For Western U, it says you can't take an introductory course, and Bio 20 is an introductory course. But then on their database, it says Bio 20 satisfies the, you know what I mean? And I emailed them, and Western U is the one school that takes forever to respond, or they don't respond at all. And I'm just confused because I'm like trying to narrow down my
like
choices.
I'm not 100% sure. So
Yeah, no.
yeah.
I'll just ask Sammy or something and see. But anyways, I don't want to hold you guys any longer because it's been a long time. It's gonna be 7. So we will talk through text message and I'll keep you guys updated on what Melina says.
Sounds great.
But yeah, have a good night, guys.
Bye.
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 So Melina, yeah, this is the recorded video. But yeah, I do catch up with it here. I hope you're doing well. Everything is going on. But yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording now, okay?